Hey guys, welcome back. BDCKR here, and we're back with our weekly recap of all things Injustice. It is the week of May 23rd, 2024. The current challenge is Arkham Knight, the Arkham Knight. It is a 1 week repeat. Required characters are Green Arrow, Green Lantern, and Superman, available as cheaply as Bronze, and Gold, respectively. His passive is Drone Strike, achieving plus 180% on the Gotham Knight special attack, calls in a drone strike dealing damage to the entire enemy team. He's got 1100 attack and 1200 health. He was last available July 13th, 2023. So he's got medium-high stats. And his passive, we used to think was just okay. For practical purposes, getting more than 180% is the same as getting 200% because the step below 200% is 166%. So he can't get anything less and still trigger his passive. The good news is that the 200% area for the sliding target minigame is bigger than anybody else's. So it's pretty easy to hit 200%. Now, I think there's another character that claims to have a really easy minigame. I think it's Deadshot maybe. But this somehow feels like it's easier even if it's not bigger. Maybe because the slider is slow. I don't know. Just pretty easy to hit consistently. His special one is a little bit weird because even though it's got multiple hits, only the last hit can knock out opponents. His special 2 is not limited in the same way as long as you get 200% on a special, because the drone attacks can hit the next opponent if the first one is knocked out. And if you don't get the 200%, I have to test it a little bit more and play with it a bit more. It feels like he's got that same limitation that he's not going to be, whether it's only the last hit that can knock them out or just that the bullet shots are just so tightly spaced together that nothing hits the next opponent. Now, his special 2 damage is reduced by 14% compared to other cards with the same damage stat, which might be the cost of being able to do splash damage on his special 2. And something that's kind of neat, which you can see in the video, is how he comes closest to any character for being able to chain one special 2 to his next special 2. And I'm not sure how often you can do that with other characters, but now I'm going to need to try it. So for Arkham Knight, it only works if you get the 200% and trigger the drone attack. If the new opponent doesn't tag in or doesn't block as they tag in, and they get hit by the drone attack, and you see that right away, and they've fallen, you start the next special 2 immediately before they've had a chance to stand up. Basically when they're on their way down falling. So it looks like the animation of Arkham Knight's special 2 overrides the opponent's animation for standing back up. You interrupt their falling and you just sort of drag them right back up to take the damage from the special 2. You're basically guaranteed to have the special 2 unblocked. If you wait even a little bit, and if you wait until they're all the way down and not falling down, when you start your special 2, they can and often will block. But if you trigger the special 2, like right away, as soon as you realize, oh, they're not blocking, before they've fallen or on their way down, yeah, another unblocked hit. It's not unlike Elseworld Flash, who, when his passive triggers, he can make the opponent do basically the worm, like a dance, where you start the swipe combo and you don't stop. So even though they're falling down, you start the next swipe combo and it hits them and sort of brings them right back up. So they're just doing that worm dance. And like I said, I think it's possible you can do that with other characters that have a special 2 that lands on the next opponent, but I've never been motivated to try it the same way. I don't remember ever having this kind of result where you can really basically chain his special 2. Arkham Knight may be unique this way because it requires a special 2 to knock out the current opponent with enough hits left over to land on the next opponent. New high stat challenge characters definitely can't do that, because they can only knock out the opponent on the last hit, right? Or not all of them, but some of them can, right? So they definitely can't chain their special 2 to it. And any characters with special 2 hits that are too closely grouped together, so that even if there are leftover hits for the next opponent, they won't land and do damage. They're not going to be able to chain it, because essentially it's that you want to be able to start your special 2 while they've taken the last few hits of your special 2 unblocked. So yeah, it's pretty kind of wild that it does that. Traditionally, back in the days when specials weren't so important for the fights, before Tanty Totem, his special attacks his basic attacks were what made him really special. His tap combo ender, it's 3 hits, and it's excellent for any gears with combo ender effects. So instead of doing 2%, 2%, 2%, and then the combo ender 3% for the amount of damage, he does 2, 2, 2, and then he does 3, 3, 3. So you get 15% on a tap combo with the combo ender, 15% of your damage instead of the usual 9%, which is basically the equivalent of a 67% boost to basic damage. But what's wild is his swipe combo is even better. Not only is it ranged, so that you don't even need to be close to the opponent, it'll hit no matter what. He also gets more than the 3 swipe combo hits. Instead of 444%, which is a normal swipe combo, he does 444, and he does another 433. That's 22% versus the usual 12% of a swipe combo. And that's like an 83% boost to basic damage. That not only means that he's going to generate more power, because both the tap combo and swipe combo have more hits, and each hit generates power, but he also does more damage on a basic attack combo than a regular character does. Basically, he's hitting way above his weight class. He's doing more damage than he should, given what his attack stat is. And there's a funny little secret. So if you only take the first 2 swipes and don't complete his swipe combo, you can maintain and sometimes increase the distance by starting a new swipe combo and not finishing it. So it's got to be late enough when you start the new one so that you don't finish with the 3rd hit of the swipe combo. So you've got to delay a little bit, but you've got to be quick enough to start a new combo before they run at you. And there's a link in the description that demonstrates this working, where you keep on shoving them back and the camera pans out further and further. You get smaller and smaller because you're creating more and more distance between you and the opponent. And because we're forcing ourselves to use each challenge character during the challenge week, and we're using Arkham Knight in a way that isn't obvious based on how good his basics are, he's really growing on me. Although it's really tempting to make him the basic damage dealer, because that passive, not as passive, because his extra attacks lets him do basic damage as if he had a built-in basic damage boost. He's just really great. I mean, last time we used him with the 3rd gear as Enchantress Companion gear to let the skulls do more follow-up special damage, even when we don't hit with 200%. We're using him with Claw of Horus just because it's so useful to shatter the gears of whoever's on the opponent team with Astro Harness. And his ranged swipe basics are really good too, because it doesn't matter how far away the Master's Death Cart shoves the opponent is never too far away to be hit by the swipe combo, and that lets us generate the power that we need to make sure we have 2 bars for special 2. So this is week 4 since the end of the 4-year repeating challenge cycle, and we are still in uncharted territory. There are 21 more missing challenge characters that may potentially be put into the schedule. And who's next? Well, if it's more of the same previous challenge cycle, then we're potentially going to get Blackest Night Batman. And if it's return of some of the older challenge characters that have been missing, all right, so we'll need to look at the pack that's in the store to get a clue there. So, what else we got? So this week's multiplayer reward is Sengoku helmet / Batman Ninja helmet. When maxed out, there's 40% max health increase. For every 5% of available power, damage received is reduced by 2.3%. And for Batman characters, every 10% of available power, there's a crit chance increase by 3%. And when it's evolved, there's a 50% chance to resist power drain. Last available October 19th, 2023. And if the pattern holds, next week should be Astro Harness. No reason why it shouldn't. Multiplayer has not been missing any rewards, unlike the challenge cycle. So this is a good tank defensive gear. Generally, we don't lean on defensive gears too heavily, but we had it originally as part of our loadout in the version of the Justice League team that had New 52 Superman, with New 52 Wonder Woman giving him power, and his passive was enough to make him a pretty good offensive force. So the gear slots can be made to make him pretty much invulnerable. You could give New 52 Superman all defensive gears to make him invulnerable except against damage over time or gear shatters. And his passive would generate, would boost his damage enough that he was pretty impressive. But because he's not the specialist, there's a better chance that you'll need him for mop-up after power's already been spent and generated by New 52 Wonder Woman. The main problem for me with this gear, which is why we haven't been using it too much in that Justice League loadout, is that to get the best benefit out of two of the abilities, reduce damage taken, crit chance increase for Batman, you're basically not using your power. I mean, the good thing is that the abilities are in line with each other, and the last evolved ability protects the power that you're hoarding. Even though it's meant for Batman, it's got the extra ability for Batman, I think Red Lantern Hal Jordan probably gets the best use out of it, where he almost always has 3 bars of power to give you reduced damage and increased crit chance, and you're really only vulnerable and lose the abilities right after doing special when you need to wait for him to power back up. But he is one of those characters, right? Because he powers back up automatically. You don't have to wait for him to generate power to get the protection back. You just get it right back. And given that he loses health with each special, he's one guy who you would be hoarding his power anyway, especially if his health got low. So when you're facing an opponent with this gear, that's another reason to have a gear shatterer like we have on Arkham Knight Batman. It's not Arkham Knight. Arkham Knight, the Arkham Knight. Sorry. So if you're facing Batman Ninja Batman with his helmet, he can sometimes take very low or 0 damage. So you're potentially stuck unless you can do damage over time or shatter his gears. All right, packs in the store. This is interesting. So, all right, so let's get this out of the way. Second week of Blackest Night pack, which we talked about last week. There's a character bundle Suicide Squad for $24.99 Canadian dollars, only currency that matters. You get Suicide Squad Harley Quinn, Suicide Squad Joker, 2 random gears out of 5. 2 of the possibilities are the signature gears, and that's 35% each, which accounts for 70%, which is most of it. But there's also a chance for the 3 Suicide Squad companion gears that you normally only get in Survivor. So that's with your last laugh ticket. So that's 10% each of those. The interesting thing is the Eternal Enemies Batman versus Joker, which by a quick look over our notes, it looks like the last time it was available was maybe 2 years ago. So it's nice to have a power credit pack, and you get 1 gold Batman or Joker character card plus 2 support cards. And it says new Batman Ninja Batman and Batman Ninja Lord Joker added. So they haven't been new for a while. So you can see how old this pack is in the game. It says there's 2.5% chance each of Batman Ninja Batman and Batman Ninja Lord Joker, 9% each of Red Sun Batman and Suicide Squad Joker Unhinged, who is no good, you don't want him, and 11% each of Arkham Origins Batman and Arkham Origins Joker, and 55% chance of gold character. So back in the day when we did more pack openings, aside from the characters that are listed, that 55%, we ended up getting the regular Batman, Batman Beyond, not animated Batman Beyond, but the regular Batman Beyond, Insurgency Batman, Insurgency Joker, and Killing Joke Joker. So they're the ones that make up the rest of it. And the numbers we had for a pack opening were too small to really get a sense of how much they were. I mean, if you had to take a stab because there's 5 of them, maybe they're split evenly with 11% each. But it's hard to say because our Batman Ninja Joker and Batman Ninja Batman we got at a higher rate than the 2.5% that was promised. So if we look at the pack, the only Batman missing from the challenges that fits the pack is Red Sun Batman. We already had the only other Batman skin, Gaslight Batman, a few weeks ago that had been missing from the challenge cycle. So yeah, and there's no Jokers missing. So if we had to make a guess, It's that next week could potentially be Red Sun Batman if they're going to start slipping in old missing challenge characters in between what was in the cycle. And it seems like that's not a bad way to do it because, well, I'd be happy with it. We'd be getting them all back soon. But like I said, we're on uncharted territory, so we don't really know what's going to happen. And a bunch of other packs have been around for a couple of years, so nothing new there. Phantom Zone is finished. Fight 62 is still broken. Last weekend's breakthrough for golds was Raven, Superman, and the Arkham Knight. Coming weekends is probably going to be Killer Croc, Harley Quinn, and Martian Manhunter. There's a link in the description to a thread in the Injustice Mobile subreddit from Devlin16 that goes over the complete breakthrough cycle. And as far as current glitches go, we go into more detail every time something significant changes, which did not happen this week. However, even if nothing changes, we still do a more detailed review once a month, the first week of every month. Most recently, that was our recap from May the 2nd, 2024. You can also see a video tutorial for every working glitch in our playlist, Current Working Glitches, linked in the description of this video. The only thing probably worth mentioning is that the challenge reset glitch has been confirmed to be working on this week's Arkham Knight, the Arkham Knight challenge. And that's it. This is where we like to give a big thank you to our patrons on Patreon. That would be Michael Devries, Irvin Ruiz, Hoshi127, Nora Klimek, and Paolo-Cesar-Pablo-Juan, who are supporting us on the credited level, and 5x5, who's supporting us on the gratitude level. And thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time. Komoda.